Hey besties! Hi, my name is Tierra, and if you're new here, I air all my personal business on social media to help me and to help you. And today we're going to be talking about consistency and how the heck I'm consistent with all the struggles and all the struggles that I struggle with. You may know, you may not know that I struggle with borderline personality disorder. If you don't know, borderline personality is the inability or struggling with unstable moods, behaviors, and relationships. So instability of life is what I like to call it. I'm just unstable. What can I say? But at the same time, as you know, throughout my social media journey, I have stayed very consistent. It definitely hasn't been like this my whole life. But that's what I put out on the internet. So I'm going to talk about where I came from and how I got here. I'm not really going to sensitize a lot of this. And I mean that in a way of like, I'm not going to save anyone's feelings in this video because nobody saved mine during these things. And I honestly think that's how I got to where I got to. So hopefully we're still besties after this, because I'm coming for you. I'm kind of speaking to me and my past self, and also what I know has helped me so I can help you. So some of this might not be easy to hear, but you're gonna hear it as long as you keep watching the video. So let's jump right into it. So from my social media, you can obviously tell that I exercise on a regular basis. I eat pretty healthy. I try to do grounding. I try to meditate. I also be crying on there. I do a lot that benefits me and like promotes self-growth and self-development. And I will say that in the beginning of my social media journey, that I definitely wasn't as in a great of a place that I am now, but fake it till you make it, am I right? Like I kind of hate that saying a lot. Like it's just so cliche, and it's just like, what do you mean fake it? What am I supposed to fake? I don't know how to do this. Something I learned over time is confidence is not a feeling. It's not a state of feeling. Like you can feel sad and still be confident. You can be happy and still be confident. You can also feel like crap and still be confident. You know what I'm saying? So confident is not a feeling state. Thinking I was going to feel confident in the beginning was definitely one of my first mistakes. What confidence really is the ability to act on something and to trust yourself to get it right, or even if you don't get it right, that you will get it right. So being confident is able to act on something, in my opinion. It's being able to act on it and really not being attached to an end result. That's confidence. Because not everything in life is going to go the way you think. We're going to make mistakes. Just because you did something and you were confident about it and it went wrong doesn't mean that you are wrong. You're probably one step closer to whatever you're trying to reach or whatever goal you're trying to be, or you know what I'm trying to say? Like confidence is the ability to act. It's not a feeling state. So that's something that has helped me so much. So like I said, fake it till you make it. Ugh, gross saying, but I feel like those kind of go like hand in hand. And the ability to act on something, especially if you're struggling with something and have been for so long, and that's more safe for you than to change, then obviously it's going to be a lot harder to feel confident or be able to act on something that you've never acted before. Don't feel sad or bad about yourself if you are in a place and it's like, I don't feel like I can act. I don't feel like I can fake confidence. I feel like I can't do that. It's really just changing small actions in order to trick your brain into being confident. That's how you rewire your brains. You do things over and over again, and then you get the feeling state. You have to change before your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs do. I've said it before, and I will never stop saying it. You're never going to feel like it. You just have to do it. So a little bit more about me and where I came from, because like I said on my social media, I've shown a lot of growth and not really like the bad parts, but I definitely wouldn't have been able to post what I wanted to post on social media with the bad parts, because like I said, unstable. And I made a lot of questionable decisions. I've lived like 20 lives in this lifetime, and I'm only 22, okay? I've done a lot. I'm gonna give you a little background about my family history. We all struggle with mental health, except none of them would admit it. I know a lot of people struggle with this, and a lot of people struggle with this in their families, that they don't believe in mental health, which makes no sense because your brain is a thing and you're trying to tell me that it's healthy all the time and that everyone thinks the same. Mental health exists. I don't even know what that argument is. Like, how can you argue that? And if you have a valid argument, like, okay, bring it to me. I'm very open. Mental health is real. Okay, I'm right and you're wrong if you think it's not. So anyway, we can argue about it. Or if you bring me a valid point, I'm very open to hear it, but I genuinely There's no way that mental health doesn't exist. It's proven. I'm not about to sit here and argue it. We're about to move on. I was also an only child, so I grew up very, very alone. Very, very, very lonely. Yes, only child. A lot of people are like, but you should be so happy you got all the attention and you were spoiled. Don't stereotype the only children now. Let's not do that. But yeah, I was an only child. I was very, very lonely. I think it's called like a lock key kid, is when like basically if your parents aren't home, like you're not allowed to leave, no one's allowed to come in. And my parents worked all the time, so I was alone a lot of my childhood. Like pretty much since I stopped going to daycare to 18, I was alone, just stuck in my thoughts until my parents got home. Probably not the best thing for a teenager going through hormone changes and also has history of mental health. But you know, that's just what was going on. During this time, I also was a serial dater. I was going from relationship to relationship because I did not want to be like alone, even though I was like alone in the house. But you know, like you can call and text. It made me feel a little bit less lonely. You know what I'm saying? So I was a serial dater. I never really got to know myself. I got to know all these men and what they liked, and changing myself into what they liked. So I had no concept of self. I just wanted somebody to like me, someone to pay attention to me. And I did have like a few traumatic things happen to me in high school, but I'm not going to go into detail. All you need to know, there is trauma in high school. I definitely talk about like story times on my TikTok that can be pieced together, but maybe another time I'll go deeper into my story, but that is not the topic of this video, so that's where we're not going to go. So I've dealt with a few traumatic experiences throughout high school as well. Yeah, I was sad and lonely, didn't know who I was, going through trauma, not feeling great. And then I ended up on my bed from an eating disorder when I was like 16. I was really, really not okay. I was under the weight of what my bones and skin alone weigh, which I don't even know how that's possible, but I found out the science of my body and what I would weigh if I had no literal being of me, and I weighed less than that. Not okay. I couldn't even get out of bed. I was not okay. And like I said, living at home with my parents, I mean, every teenager, every parent will mess you up. I don't care what you say. Every parent does something wrong. I don't think parents get enough credit for what they do. I mean, they're up to their necks in their own stuff, and then they're supposed to take care of a child and deal with their stuff and live through them, because I don't care what you say. Parents have to live through their children, because how else are they supposed to protect their children? Parents don't get enough credit for what they do, but at that time, like me and my parents weren't exactly in a good space. Obviously, we weren't really in a good space if I was acting out like that. I didn't really feel like I could talk to anybody and I had anybody. So I turned everything inward and just sat in it alone in my loneliness. But once I turned 18 and it was time to go to college, which I was so excited about. I was so excited to get out of the house. I saved up a bunch of money. I kind of skipped over a part here, but I was doing a little bit better for my eating disorder at this time. I was starting to recover. I'm getting color back in my face. I'm starting to feel better. So I was able to go off to college and, you know, live a normal lifestyle. So we fast forward. I went to college. I went far away from home. That way my parents didn't have the convenience of coming to see me every day, and I didn't have the convenience of coming to see them every day, because that's not what I want. Looking back, I would probably do it again. I definitely would do it again because it built so much character. But if I was trying to protect myself, I'd be like, Tierra, stay home for a little bit. At the same time, it built so much character. When I moved, I had one of these boyfriends follow me, and then got the same apartment I got, went to the same school I went to after he already got into a whole different school and already planned on going there, but followed me instead. And then also worked the same job as me. I don't need to go much about the details of that relationship, but it was very, very toxic and didn't end up good at all. And yeah, I'm not really going to go into details. And still being a serial dater I finally was single for like a few months and then fell back into the little hole I was in. Another relationship, and they mentally messed me up. Like, I was fully aware that I had mental health issues, and fully, like, I'm so self-aware. If you followed me for this long, you know that I'm a self-aware queen. I know everything that's wrong, but I also still have things wrong with me. I'm just self-aware what's wrong with me. So I was very self-aware that all these things were wrong with me, but my boyfriend at the time, which is obviously now my ex, was always telling me, like, it is your mental health. This is your fault. This is this. You know, you react weird. You should like this more. You should do this more. And it just messed with my brain. And I sat with it for 3 years. And it was not a good time. Yes, I will never say it's 100% someone's fault that a relationship ended. But that kid nobody deserves what I was putting up with. Nobody deserves the exhaustion you would feel mentally. It's just like not okay. Like, yes, I have mental health issues, but you accepted me for what I was in the beginning, and you can't just keep gaslighting me into feeling bad about myself and turn it that every time that you do something wrong that it's my mental health, and that's the way I'm viewing it because I'm mentally ill. Do you know how bad that messed me up? Like, I already knew I was mentally ill, but do you know how mentally ill I felt? So mentally ill. I, for 3 years straight, was trying to figure out what to do, what was wrong with me, how to navigate it, blah, blah, blah. Until one day my mom came up to me and was like, it's not you, hon. Like, just watch what he's doing. Like, he just came up to you and tried to get you to get so jealous and you wouldn't. And now he's mad at you. And I was like, huh, I guess you're right. Like, and then I couldn't turn it off. That I was seeing it, that it wasn't my mental health. It was maybe a personality clash. I don't really know. I don't want to push blame or anything, but that just was not a good relationship. It was not in a good place. And my eating got worse again during this time. Like, it was not a good place. But this relationship is honestly what inspired me. A lot of people will change when they feel backed into a corner and they can't do anything anymore. And that's what happened to me. Like, I felt so backed in a corner. I felt so low. I was not okay. I've never been more depressed in my life for that consistently. Like, it was not a good time. So for me, I had to get worse before it gets better. But hopefully in making this video that you don't have to go through the same thing, because you do not have to get worse before it gets better. Because now there's times where I can feel that, oh, maybe I should get worse before I get better. I'm like, no, Tierra, just get better. Let's skip that whole worst part, because we've been through the worst part a bunch. Skip it. I had to bring a lot of awareness towards myself. And obviously during that relationship, I was spending a lot of time figuring out what was wrong with me, and it did help me to a certain degree. But at the same time, I think I also fell into like a loophole, and then I was looking so hard for something wrong when it necessarily wasn't. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a self-aware queen. I know that I had issues, but I finally educated myself on those issues during the relationship, even though those issues weren't entirely my fault. Does that make sense? I don't know. The first step for me was bringing a bunch of awareness and like learning about myself. If I don't understand what I'm dealing with or what's going on with me, I'm never going to understand how to stay consistent with my personality type. Not everybody's the same. So what works for someone over here is not necessarily going to work for someone over here. What you need to do is learn what works for you. Most of your time, your brain is going to tell you that you cannot act on that and that you cannot do certain things like that because you are not capable, that you are not XYZ and all this, because your brain doesn't have the wiring to know that it's safe to do something new. You're so used to doing what you're doing that is what's kept you safe for so long. And yes, it might not necessarily be comfortable, but your brain knows it's safe. So it's trying to play the safe route and to keep you there because it's safe. It's not that the other options are unsafe. It's just that your brain literally has never experienced it before. So it doesn't know that it's safe. It seems scary. Change is scary for anybody. I don't care what you say. If you haven't been through something before, dealing with that head on is the scariest thing you can do, but it also brings the most breakthroughs. Like I said in the beginning, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs don't change until you do. Motivation is a luxury, babe. Nobody wakes up motivated every single day. And if I was running on pure motivation, I would not be here. You know how many times I open the camera and I cry because something went wrong with the editing and I had to scrap a whole video and do this and that. Motivation is a luxury. I'm not motivated every day. I'm disciplined. I make myself do these things. I will regret not showing up, but I won't regret showing up. And this is what I mean. Like, I don't mean it like in a literal sense of like showing up somewhere, because sometimes you don't want to show up and sometimes it's healthier not to show up. Okay. So not like a physical place. The easiest one for me to break this down is like addiction. If you relapse, you are going to regret relapsing. But if you recover, a lot of the time you are not going to regret recovering. You might not feel good and you might have a day that you really want to relapse, but choosing the harder decision, you're not going to regret. But falling backwards, you're going to. I'm the queen of quotes. I always have quotes playing in my head that just keep going. So that way I keep going. You're going to regret not showing up, but you will not regret showing up. for yourself. You won't. I promise you. It doesn't feel good all the time. Like, it doesn't feel good all the time. And as I talked before about, like, my past eating disorders, it doesn't necessarily feel good to be recovered all the time. But at the same time, it feels pretty freaking good to know that I have a fighting chance at life. And for me to build a healthier relationship with food myself, I had to learn the gym and what's healthy for the gym. I had to learn nutrition and what's healthy in nutrition. Like, too much of anything is a bad thing. So too much fruits is bad for you. Too much candy is bad for you. But sometimes a little candy is good for the soul. Awareness and just showing up, even when you don't want to, is how I stay so consistent. And I know that sounds so simple, and it's not, but that's as simple as it is. And it sucks because it is so simple. It's so simple. But up here, it's not that simple. Up here, it's complicated. Another thing I struggled with, like, so much is I would start something and never finish it. And my BPD girlies and guys, you guys are not unfamiliar to this, okay? I already know it. I feel like I might be talking straight to your soul right now, and that's fine. But picking up certain things and then just dropping them and leaving them for the next thing. If you're finding something that lights you up in your heart, you're not always going to want to do it. But at the same time, if you have a dream of something and you're so tired of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, stop changing everything and stick with something. You are allowed to pivot at any point. You are not stuck doing what you're doing. But what's the worst thing that would happen if you stuck to something and saw the outcome? You know what I'm saying? And that's something that sat with me so crazy, because I've never sat something through and saw it out until I started social media. And I made it a goal to see this all the way through, to help people all the way through, to build programs to help other people all the way through. Like, I promised myself and everyone on here that I would show up and do this. And I did. And it literally is helping me break the brain wirings of the belief that I have to change everything all the time to feel better. That's not necessarily true. And if this didn't feel good, I'm allowed to pivot at any point. If there's one day I decide, like, this is not for me, it's too much, which I love you guys. Please don't worry about that. I probably am not going anywhere, at least for a very, very long time. But at the same time, if I didn't enjoy this and this was hurting my mental health, I'm allowed to pivot and walk away. I tried it. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least give it a chance for a while. And if you don't like it, you can change. But like I said, there are certain days where I don't feel like showing up and I don't feel like doing this, but I do. I'm not going to want to do everything I want to do all the time. Like, it's just not possible. You're never going to feel 100% all the time. And if you think that's what you're trying to achieve, you really need to change your outcome goal, because life ebbs and flows. You can't see the good without the bad and the bad without the good. So therefore, you got to feel it all. We're on this earth to feel all the things, not some of the things. So if your goal is to hit 100% better, bring me someone that's 100% better and put them in my face, and then I'll be like, okay, that's possible, because it's not. You have to let it ebb and flow. So right now, I love doing this, and I hope I never lose my light and drive for this, but there could be a day where I do. And I do give myself the option to abort mission, because if I'm unhappy, I can't show up. Like, there'd be no way I would be able to show up the way that I do if I was unhappy doing this. So like I said, stick to something, but if it doesn't feel comfortable, you're allowed to pivot, but don't change everything all the time, okay? See something through. And if it doesn't work, that is okay. It's fine. We're human. You can start over. Nobody cares. And when you're starting something new, it's very rare that you're going to succeed the first time. I feel like I said that weird. Succeed. But it's very rare you're going to succeed the first time. You have to accept that you are going to fail sometimes. Like, failure is a part of growing. And every time you fail, you are one step closer to growing, because every fail is a redirection in the right direction. Every fail shows you exactly what you're not supposed to do for the next time. Or even that failure might have showed you were like almost there, but not quite. So it shows you this worked, but this is exactly what didn't work. So maybe I need to tweak this. So you know what I'm saying? So obviously the first time you're doing something, it's not going to be like, oh, rainbows, butterflies, I figured it all out. It's going to be like, oh my God, this is hard. What do I do? That's what it's going to be. And you got to be real with yourself. And you just got to keep doing it until it is almost like rainbows and butterflies. It's super easy now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's never rainbows and butterflies, but you get the point. Another one that I'm just going to throw in there, it's very, very random, but when you look good, you feel good. So if you're wearing clothes you don't feel good in, or you're just throwing your hair in a messy bun and not washing your face, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just not doing things that make you feel good. Why do you think that you're going to show up feeling good? I take a lot of time out of my day to do my hair, to get dressed, to wear matching stuff. And why do I do that? Because I know that if I do, I will show up better. I know it sounds weird and you might be like, oh my God, you should be confident no matter what. And I am, but at the same time, I know that I show up better when I feel good. And when I do things that make me feel good, I feel good. When you are getting up and getting ready for your day, I really, really think it's super important to do something that makes you feel good. That makes you look good, feel good, whatever it needs to set the tone to make you feel like you can show up your best. Quit skipping those parts of your routine because you're going to be late. Wake up 10 minutes earlier and get it done. So that way you can show up the best that you can for the rest of your day. What is 10 extra minutes in the morning to the rest of your day? Like, if I'm having bad days consistently over and over and over again, why not try to wake up 10 minutes earlier, even though it sucks, to do something that makes you feel good and you might feel better. And then you might find out that waking up 10 minutes earlier is better. But it was just a matter of showing up and doing the same things over and over and over again until I got it right, and not changing up the routine all the freaking time. And that's something really hard for someone that struggles with borderline personality disorder. Doing the same things over and over and living a mundane life is literally so dreadful. And honestly, some days I'm like, I hate this mundane life. What am I doing to myself? But at the same time, I love it here. I really, really do. So really, like, honestly, the gym inspired me, like, outside of my life to show up over and over and over again until it worked. I'm telling you, the gym helps so much. So get to the gym, do your little workout. I got programs right now. But I'm telling you, the gym has helped me trust my own body and to show up for myself every single day. Honestly, the gym event originally started off as a coping mechanism. I was lifting heavy weights, being all sad. But that's when my lifting journey really, really, really began. I also really wanted to build muscle. So I don't know, I was just sad and I wanted to build muscle and I had no guidance. And then I just started learning it. And then all of a sudden I started taking the things out in the gym and learning them outside the gym. It is pretty cool. So I don't know, that might help someone too. Get in your gym routine. I don't know. I love the gym. I love lifting little heavy circles when I'm sad. I love lifting little heavy circles when I'm happy. I don't know. Little heavy circle. But I don't want to make this video too long. I do hope this helps somebody. If you wanted to reach out to me on any of my other social medias, I will link them in the description below. I also take video requests for YouTube and on my TikTok and Instagram. If you wanted to leave me a request in my DMs so it's a little more private, or you can leave them in the comments below. Also, if you did want one of my programs, you can DM me on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you would like. I usually answer. Just don't do it in the comments because they get lost. So definitely direct message me if you are interested. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next Friday, I love you guys.